Hey, how you doing? This is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show. And this morning I was looking for one of my SDRs. I have one that I have not reviewed yet, and I was trying to find it. And I realized that I've got quite a collection of SDR, software-defined radios, and I thought I'd just give you kind of a summary collage of the ones I have. Most of the ones I have are $100 or less, or thereabouts, $125 or less. You can spend upward to $6,000 for a standalone software-defined radio. So I'm just going to show you what I've got in my box here, and then I'm going to talk about some of the other ones that are available. So let's get this out of the way, and let's zoom in here. See what we got in the old box there. This is my SDR drawer, plus it has cables for SDRs and stuff like that. On the top here, which is usually not in the drawer, I just set it on top here, because this is the one I use most often. This is the Fifi SDR. It actually comes with a little label you can put on the top of it, but I haven't done that. This was given to me by a friend of mine who saw my shows and said, hey, I've got one of those and I don't use that particular SDR, and if you want it, I'll send it to you, which he did. I've done several reviews of the device itself, plus I've used it in several of my other videos. So this is my go-to SDR, software-defined radio. So that's that one. This one cost about $125, I think. This is the most expensive one I own. And these are just kind of in random order, so there's no particular order. This particular one is a demo unit. It's a modified TV dongle that someone, I don't remember the gentleman's name, and you can go back to my shows and see some demonstration of this, took this off-the-shelf dongle and modified the electronics. So that's that one there. It works quite well. You can get these on eBay. I think I'm not sure. I think they're about $50, but I'm not sure. And it uses this kind of European connector, antenna connector. And then, of course, this end is the USB connector. Okay, so that's that one. This one was actually sent to me by one of my viewers, and I'll quickly get it out of the bag. This is it's a very common one. When I say common, there's a lot of people that sell these. And this one was touted as being good on HF. I don't think it had any modifications. So this is just a standard dongle. This is the DVB-T plus DAP plus FM. So basically this was originally designed for television reception and FM radio reception. But you can use some of the software that's been developed for these things, which there's a ton of it, and use it for a scanner radio. So, and it has this this is the typical connection for these guys, and it uses, they typically come with an antenna with about 2 feet of lead. It's a little short antenna. I had them close at hand, but I don't now. I moved them away. And then you can buy, this is not one of them. I think this is one down here. Yeah, you can buy these adapters separately that will plug into here and then give you, in this case, an N-type connector for connecting external antennas. So This was sent to me. This was sent to me by Dennis. Thank you, Dennis, for sending me that. Now, Dennis since has purchased a much more expensive one, and that's the one he's using now. Okay, let's see what else we got. Now, this one looks familiar, doesn't it? Okay, this is an unmodified version of this. So the gentleman that came up with this modified version started with this guy right here and made a number of improvements to the circuitry. Added a little circuit board to it that inside this case. So that's those two. This one, these sell for $20 or less. You can get them on eBay, you can get them on Amazon, whatever. Okay, this is one I got recently, and these are no in particular order. This is the RTL-SDR.com. Excuse me. And this one works quite well. This sells for about $25 on Amazon. Comes with this type of connector, which this is an adapter. It screws on here and then it adapts it to this type of connector that's most commonly used by amateur radio operators. This unit works quite well. I would put that kind of as my second as far as the ones I like that I have. Sciences are acting up again. Okay, this is a company that makes several different ones. This is New Tech or No Tech or whatever it is, and they make several different ones. And I'll show you another one they make. This is one of the first ones they came out with. This is pretty good on VHF and UHF. Doesn't work that well on HF, and I had an adapter attached to it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to unplug that so it doesn't break anything. If I can get it up there. These are really tight connectors. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's that one. And of course, you can buy all kinds of adapters for these things. So that's the No Tech, whatever. Okay, this one is from a designer, I'll call it, in Japan. And he makes several different models. This is, I think, one of his original models. This works on, most of these I've done a show on, so you can go back to my shows, probably just do a search for SDR and you'll find them. This works on HF, VHF, and UHF. And it did a pretty good job. It did suffer a little bit from bleed-in into the HF band. It has this switch here for switching in different filters to try to help that situation. And I did an extensive review of this one. This is another one he sells, or sold. He keeps upgrading these. As a matter of fact, I saw a notification where he just is coming out with a new one. And I sent him an email yesterday requesting a demo version of that so I can do a review of that. So that's those two. These sell for about $35 to $60, depending on which model you get. The models are SOFT, S-O-F-T 66, and then they have a suffix which designates the different models. Okay, that's those. And I've reviewed both of these. All right, let's see what else we'll get down the bottom. Now here is these, and for instance, I'll say this one. Since these were originally designed to work as a TV receiver or FM radio receiver, they have a remote control. So you can actually control these via this remote control if you use the software that comes with it. But unfortunately, the TV is based on the European TV channels, so it won't work in the United States. Plus, it's a lot more fun to use these for scanners or wideband receivers. Okay, so that's that one. I think we're down to about the bottom. What is this right here? Anything? Not sure what that is. Nah, it doesn't matter. Okay, here we got another one. This one is a Digitance, Digistance. This one I think I got directly from China, and I think they're now, these guys are similar ones to this, are now down to like $10. That's how cheap they are, and they're a lot of fun to play with. Like I say, there's a ton of free software out there. I've shown several of those programs. For instance, SDR Console, SDR Sharp, HD SDR, whole kinds of software out there to play with these things. Pretty cool. So that's another one. Now this one, this is the one that I was looking for. This is the one I got about a month ago. Again, it's this neurotech.com, which is the same company that made these. This is a newer version of this, except it's designed for using it as a wideband receiver, as opposed to these were designed originally to use as a TV receiver. These sell for about $25 on Amazon, for instance, and the claim to fame on this one, number one, it's a small form factor, and so it's not so wide, so you can put it next to other SDR devices on your computer, and it doesn't interfere. These are kind of wide. They tend to interfere if you've got a couple of USB ports close together. So that's the number one, not number one, but that's one of the claims to fame on this guy. The other one is this one, like I say, was kind of built and designed for using it as a wideband receiver. It has some circuitry to provide accurate frequency and not have the frequency drift using a temperature controlled oscillator. I have just quickly tried this, but I haven't done a review of this. So this is the one I was looking for so I can do a review. And there's, I guess, a name brand or something, Nessor Smart. So I'm going to do a show on this one. It's got the nice connector, which I have adapters for. Matter of fact, here's a direct adapter right there to put on that and give you this connector to your antenna. So that's where I'm at. Some of these dongles come with a nice USB cable so that you can get it away from your computer, and they even have this little toroid to cut down on the interference from your computer. So that's where we're at. Now you can go to a website, RTL, this is all lowercase, RTL-SDR.com, and they've got a ton of information. And one of their many web pages is a listing of other ones, especially more expensive ones. And I'll just give you some examples of what they've got on that website. They have a very popular one listed on there, and they show you a picture of it, the SDR Play, which I think that is what Dennis, who sent me this, I think that's what he's using now. Those cost, depending on which one you get, because they just now are coming out with a new one, so they have a version 2. The old ones, they sell for $150, and the new ones will sell for $170. Pretty good quality on this one. FunCube is another one that came out a couple of years ago. Very, very good receiver. Sells for about $200. Now these are kind of retail prices, so you can get them cheaper. HackRF is a popular one. It's a pretty good size box, and it's $300. So like I say, these can really get pricey. A new one that has just come out is called Lime SDR, and Their first version that just came out a couple of months ago had a few problems. They are correcting that, and they'll be putting out a new version. Now we're getting into the expensive ones. Wind Radio, who's been making scanner radios and radios for industry and the government, they have a SDR. It's pretty large, and it's $750. Now you're talking big bucks. AOR, which is another scanner company, they have one that's $3,600. Whoa. And then there's several ham radio equipment manufacturers that have standalone radios, which are also software-defined radios, means they can be controlled by some of these software packages. And that includes Electrocraft, Perseus, Alinco, and Flex Radio. Now you're talking probably $600 and up. Some of these may cost as much as $6,000. So, if you want to buy me one of these and send it to me, that'd be great. I'd do a review for you. I'd do a whole buttload of reviews for you for one of these guys. Oh, well, okay. So, that's kind of my roundup of SDRs. I love these things. They are so cool because you can use this free software and you can actually see what's on the bands for, let's see, which one is it? Now, this one that I like the best, this is the Fifi. It has one drawback, I'll call it. It's not a fault or anything, it's a drawback. That's not the right one. Oops, there we go. Dummy. I tell you, sometimes I just lose control of my little brain I have. This is the Fifi. This is not the Fifi. The one drawback of this one is the bandwidth of which you can put on the screen at one time. I don't mean the audio bandwidth, I mean the frequency bandwidth. This one you can only put 192 kilohertz at one time that you can see on the screen. I have somewhere, I forget which one it is, but I have one of these that will give you, it's this one right here. This one will give you a bandwidth of 3 megahertz. Actually, maybe even wider. Boy, I tell you, I'm such a dummy. Even wider if your computer is fast enough, which mine is. Mine will only, it's marginal at 3 megahertz. Marginal, I mean the computer trying to keep up. It works well at 2 megahertz. But a 2 megahertz bandwidth that you can see displayed on your computer and see all the activity that's going on. So that's why these two are my two go-to SDRs. The Fifi SDR and the the RTL-SDR.com. This one is only $25. It doesn't do, this one, the Fifi is great on HF bands. It works great on HF bands. This one doesn't work so good on the HF bands, but it works great on VHF. Anything above 29 megahertz, it works great. It gives you this huge spectrum. It's cool. So these are the two of the lower price range, 125, 25, that I would suggest you get. With the exception, this guy, you can go back to the review of this one and this one. He's coming out right now with a new one, and we'll see what it's like if he sends me one for a demo. Okay, that's about it. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment, or you can send me an email to TRRS73@gmail.com. And like I say, there are a number of good websites that talk about these things much better than I do, and one of them is at RTL-SDR.com. And they have several pages. One is just listings and brief description of many more of these, plus some prices and where to get them. And they have another web page of software for controlling these, a listing of software to control these, which there is a ton. I could do a couple hours just talking about all the software, much less demonstrate it, which I have done a lot of demonstrations. Okay, if you enjoyed the show, please give me a thumbs up. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.